Commander.
Operating some of our most advanced equipment, specialists deploy robotic drones on the battlefield that can be outfitted for combat or field medic duty.
Hey everybody, ChristopherOdd here, and this is the fourth of 5 videos where I'll be going over the skill trees for the soldier classes in XCOM 2. Today we are going over the specialist class. So the support class from previous iterations of XCOM has been completely reworked, and it now includes a drone called a gremlin that is going to handle some of your abilities. Now, some viewers were asking if I would talk about my preferred build a little bit at the end of the video, so I will do so quickly a little bit later on. As with the previous videos, you'll be able to click on any of the abilities to the left to jump directly to that skill's location in the video. I'm going to be starting with the Battle Medic archetype, and then I'll move into the Combat Hacker side of things. And I feel that out of all of the classes, this class specifically lends itself best to committing to either archetype, but there are some abilities that I mix and match a little bit, and it would really depend on the timing of the campaign and other things that are going on. I'll get into that more a little bit later, but for now, let's get started. The first skill that's available to all specialists is called Aide Protocol. How it works is that you send your gremlin to move to a friendly target, and it's going to grant a bonus to defense until the start of the next turn. As with a lot of gremlin-based abilities, if you use it as your first action, it's not going to end your turn. Aide Protocol also happens immediately, so if you need to trigger an enemy overwatch, you can cast Aide Protocol before attempting to run away for a little bit of a defensive boost. And if you upgrade the gremlin, it can provide a further bonus to Aide Protocol as well. At the Corporal rank, you have access to the Medical Protocol skill, and this allows for the gremlin to heal remotely using Gremlin Heal and Gremlin Stabilize. This is a big change from Enemy Unknown and Enemy Within. Originally it comes with 1 healing charge, but you can equip a medkit for an additional charge. Pairs really nicely with the Field Medic ability for obvious reasons, and the Field Medic ability will come up soon. And when you use it as your first action, it does not end your turn, and as well as the previous Aide Protocol, if you upgrade your gremlin, it'll allow for additional HP to be healed per charge. Next up, we have Revival Protocol. What this does for you is lets you send your gremlin to remove any negative status effects. Status effects can include things like being disoriented, stunned, panicked, or even unconscious. As with the previous skills, if you use it on your first action, it will not end your turn, and you can upgrade your gremlin to allow for additional charges to be used. As I mentioned earlier, Field Medic is going to be very essential if you grab the Medical Protocol skill. How Field Medic works is it modifies your existing medkits to have 2 extra charges, so 3 in total. But you also get 1 with Medical Protocol, so technically you're going to carry 4 charges with the Field Medic ability. Unlocked at the Captain's rank, we have a skill returning from the previous iterations of XCOM. This is Covering Fire, and what this does is allow Overwatch shots to be triggered by any enemy action, not just movement. And I think most people understand this, but just in case, the specialist shot does take place before the enemy action completes. Next up, we have Ever Vigilant. This is one of my favorite skills for this class, and if you spend all of your actions on moves only, you're going to be granted an automatic Overwatch shot at the end of the turn. It's important to know that anything other than moving will invalidate Ever Vigilant, and the way I like to use it, if you need to dash into cover, obviously this can help, makes you extremely mobile, and it's even better when paired with Covering Fire. And the last skill unlocked at the Corporal rank is called Restoration. What this does is sends out the gremlin to every squad member, healing or reviving them as needed. Now you only get 1 charge per mission, but as you upgrade your gremlin, it can heal more and more HP. So this is obviously a very, very powerful skill, especially for a pure support build. And I think a lot of people are going to have trouble deciding between this one and the other Corporal skill that we'll talk about a little bit later. The first available skill on the Combat Hacker side of things is called Combat Protocol. And what it does is sends out a gremlin to an enemy to jolt them, dealing guaranteed damage. Cannot miss. It's increased against robotic enemies, it's got 2 uses per mission, and I cannot count the number of times that this has gotten me out of a jam just by simply sending it to an enemy that's overwatched to allow me to set up in a much better position. If you upgrade your gremlin as well, you're able to deal more damage per charge.
Hard target, minimal damage. Watch the sides.
This next skill is going to be a favorite for a lot of people. It's called Haywire Protocol. What it lets you do is target robotic and mechanical enemies with the gremlin and attempt to hack them or seize control. So if you hack a turret, it'll remain with you for the entire mission. If you hack an enemy, you can control it for a certain number of turns. And it doesn't always involve just taking control. You can shut down certain enemies for a period of time, so there are some other options to use. As of now, I know of 2 ways to increase your hacking stat. You can get upgraded gremlins, or you can use a skulljack.
Come in.
Next up, we have Scanning Protocol, and while I don't think it's an essential skill, it's really powerful in the right scenarios. What it does is sends out a gremlin that can trigger an instant scan of the area. The scan is very large. It's going to increase the specialist's sight radius substantially for 1 turn, and it reveals any hidden or disguised enemies that are hidden from view, including those that are blocked by walls or obstructions. So it's really powerful in the right scenario. I absolutely love this next one called Threat Assessment. How it works is it modifies Aide Protocol a little bit, and Aide Protocol will now grant the target a covering fire overwatch shot. But the Aide Protocol cooldowns increase by 1 turn. Now if you use it on a sharpshooter, and this is the only difference from class to class, the sharpshooter will actually use his pistol for overwatch instead of his rifle.
Hostiles got me flanked.
Now if you're the lucky type, Guardian is going to be the skill that you're going to want to choose. With every successful overwatch shot, there's a 50% chance that another will be taken. Now there's really no limit to the amount that can be taken outside of 2 things. Number 1, the amount of ammo that you have, and number 2, the available targets. I guess there would be a 3rd thing, and as I mentioned already, it's how lucky you are. And last but definitely not least, we have Capacitor Discharge. What it does is sends out a gremlin to a location where it's going to emit an electrical discharge. It's going to damage and potentially even stun all nearby units. Robotic enemies will take more damage. It only is a 1-time use per mission, but it can deal more damage as your gremlin is upgraded.
We're visible here.
So, how would I build out the specialist class? That kind of depends. My personal approach is that I believe killing the enemy before they have a chance to kill you is usually the best way to handle them instead of healing after the fact. So early on, I would usually go with more of a combat hacker approach, but I would most likely substitute 2 things. First, I'd most likely grab Field Medic over Scanning Protocol and just heal the old-fashioned way if I absolutely needed to. And I'd probably grab Ever Vigilant over Guardian, since I'd rather have an ability that's guaranteed instead of something that's relying on chance. The thing about XCOM, and specifically XCOM 2, is so many unknown things could happen, that this build that I go with now might be the complete opposite of what I do in months from now once I have more hands-on time. So take it with a grain of salt. And that's really the specialist class. As always, guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. Feel free to discuss your thoughts on the specialist class in the comments. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of theory crafting for this one, since it's a pretty big mechanical change from the supports of previous iterations of XCOM. XCOM 2 is releasing really soon, and honestly, I'm really just as excited as you guys are. I should also just say a proper thank you. It's really because of you guys that I'm in this position to get my hands on this kind of stuff. So once again, just thank you. I really appreciate the ongoing support, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
The world you once knew is no more.